Hey guys, my name is Scoby and welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to play Gamecube games on your Android device in 2022. This is going to be a nice, quick and easy tutorial. I'm going to be showing you step by step how to do everything. Let's jump right into this. Now I will mention, to be able to run these games effectively and properly at a good frame rate and speed, you're going to need a relatively powerful phone. The recommended specs for your phone are going to be a Snapdragon 835 or an equivalent, at least to be on Android 10, and to have at least 4GB of RAM to be able to run these effectively. Now in today's video I'm going to be using a Snapdragon 888 and I currently have 12GB of RAM. If you have a lower spec phone, your mileage may vary. You may get a lot of frame rate issues or some games might not load at all, so that's something to keep in mind. Depending on your phone spec and hardware, you may have a lot of different experience than what I have in today's video, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to play these. So the first thing we're going to be doing is opening up our Play Store. And once our Play Store opens up, we're going to be coming to the search button on the top right here, and we're going to be searching for Dolphin. Once this opens up, we're going to be looking for the Dolphin emulator right here. You'll know it's the right one when it has 5 million plus downloads. What we're going to be doing is coming here, we're going to be clicking install, and we're going to be waiting for this to download and install. Once this is downloaded, we're going to be clicking play to open this up. Once this is downloaded, we're going to be opening this up first, and we're going to be taking care of a couple things. And then we're going to be talking about games and how to use them a little bit later on. So the first thing that will open up when we come here is enable usage statistics reporting. Here you can feel free to enable or disable this if you want. I'm going to be enabling this, and now we're going to be brought inside of our emulator. Now when we first brought here, there'll be a couple different options here. There'll be Gamecube, Wii, and then there'll be the folder structure right here. So the way Dolphin is set up, it's actually able to play both Gamecube and Wii games directly inside of it. Of course, for today's video, we're going to be focusing on Gamecube games specifically, but we'll be able to set those up and see those here. If we come up to the top right, we can click on our settings, and here we have a couple different settings that we can take a look at. Again, we're going to take a look at these a little bit more in detail later, but this is the basic UI of how our emulator is going to look. From this point, we're going to be heading back over to the Play Store. We're going to be backing out of Dolphin, and we're going to be downloading a second app called ZArchiver, and this is what we're going to be using to extract games and make sure games are in the correct file format so we can play them on Dolphin. So this is 100% free. Again, I already have it downloaded. As you can see, I have it right here. Once you have it downloaded, we're going to be opening this up. And now we're ready to look at games specifically. So I will mention at this point, I'm not going to be showing you where to download any games for this emulator. You will have to download and source your own games, or feel free to create dumps or backups of your existing games and then transfer them over to your phone. At the moment, I have downloaded my games, and if you download your games as well, they will most likely come in a .7zip or a .rar format. At the moment, my game is in a .7zip format, as you can see, .7z right here. Now, sadly, in Dolphin, we can't play this directly. We are actually going to have to extract this first, and we're specifically looking for .iso game format files for our emulator. So to extract games, we're going to again have to locate them using ZArchiver. We're then going to be single pressing on this game, and then we can click either extract here if you want to extract in its current location, or extract ... if you'd like to choose where to extract it. For the moment, I'm just going to be extracting it here, and depending on how large your game is and depending on the phone you have, you might have to wait a couple of seconds to a couple of minutes for this to fully extract. So now that I have my game extracted, you can see I currently have my Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness in a .iso format file, and that's exactly what we need. From this point, I'm going to be heading back over to Dolphin. I'm going to be coming to the Gamecube section right here. I'm going to be clicking the plus button on the bottom right, and here I'm going to have to locate to where my Gamecube games are. So what I would recommend doing is creating a full dedicated Gamecube games folder, as I currently have right here inside my downloads folder, and then you can put all of your Gamecube games here, so Dolphin can really easily find all of these files. I'm simply going to be clicking use this folder. Dolphin will then ask for access to your phone storage. Simply click allow, and then your games should show up here. Now, as long as your games are in the correct format, they will show up here also with their cover art, which is really nice. So you can see I have XD Gale of Darkness right here with the correct cover art. If at any point you've added new games and you would like to refresh the UI, simply click the refresh button on the top right, just to make sure you have the most up-to-date games. From this point, if you would like to launch a game, you simply need to left click it here on the UI. It will then take a couple seconds and your game should start to load. Now you simply just follow the instructions on screen and everything should work. So by default, as mentioned, I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any sound issues or glitches with my phone, and everything seemed to work really well. The frame rate overall was really good, and depending on the games you're playing, the on-screen controls can actually be fine. So something like Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, using the on-screen controls can be fine, but if you're going for more of an if you're going for a game that has more action, something like Smash Bros or Mario Sunshine, then you may want to think about connecting up an external controller. It can help make your experience a lot better depending on the games you're playing, but with Pokemon at least, this works really, really well for me. Now, if you would like to open up the on-screen menu, you can simply click the back button, or if you're using gestures, simply slide back in gestures. This side panel will open up here. Here we can pause emulation, we can take screenshots, open up our settings, we have our overlay controls, change disk, so if you're using a multi-disc game or you'd like to change your disk, and exit emulation. One of the nice things here is we can actually change the overlay controls. You can edit the layout, you can toggle controls, adjust the controls, set up the relative stick, enable and disable rumble, and even reset controls to the default layout, which is all really nice to see. What I'm going to be doing from this point is actually exiting emulation, just to come back up to the menu right here, and here we're going to be coming back out to the main menu. Now the next thing we're going to be talking about is setting up a controller for your Gamecube, which thankfully is also really easy to do here. To do this, we need to come up to the top right, click on the cogwheel. We're then going to be coming to Gamecube input right here, and here we can see up to 4 different controller mappings that we can set up. By default, it will be set to emulated for your controller 1, and all of the other controllers will be disabled. Here you can feel free to enable and set up any of these you want. To change the controller input for controller 1, we can set up disabled, we can set up emulated, and we can set up Gamecube adapter. If you're using a specific Gamecube adapter controller, you can select this last one. Otherwise, for any other Bluetooth device or the on-screen controls, we're going to be doing emulated, so we're going to be sticking with that. After selecting emulated, we will get this pop-up on screen where we can map all of our Gamecube controller buttons to the buttons on our actual Bluetooth device. At the moment, I don't have one connected up, but I will show you how it's done. To connect any of the buttons, we simply tap on it, and then we need to press or click the input on the controller that we want to use, and it should be mapped and binded here. You simply need to go through each one of these manually and set them all up until you are fully happy with your setup, and then your controller will be fully mapped and you can do it with all of the necessary controllers for this device. Now also inside our settings tab right here, we also have our configuration settings. I'm not going to be going to each one of these in detail, as by default it worked really well for me, but if you would like to play around with some specific settings, or you know what you're doing past the default, feel free to come in here and take a look at anything you would like. You can feel free to play around with the different CPU and system settings in here, and you can also go specifically to the Gamecube section where we can set up language, the Gamecube slot A device, the slot B device if you would like to add anything here, including dummy, memory card, or a GCI folder, and you can feel free to really experiment and make this what you want. Also in our settings tab, we also have our graphical settings right here where we can select our video backend. I would recommend leaving it as OpenGL by default, but if you are having issues running some games, you can feel free to experiment with this if you would like. We can show the FPS on screen, which can be a nice option depending on the games you're playing, to know exactly how much frame rate you're getting from your games. You can adjust the shader compilation if you would like. You can change the aspect ratio. So here you can leave it by auto if you want to play the auto default of what it was on the Gamecube. You can force 16:9 if you want. You can force stretch to window or force 4:3. I recommend just leaving it auto so you don't get any issues or any sort of stretching on your games, but feel free to select what you want. You also have enhancements, hacks, and advanced here at the bottom. I didn't really play with any of these settings, as mentioned, since it is on an Android device. We don't really have a lot of extra horsepower to work with here, especially playing Gamecube games. And for me, I didn't have any issues by default. I was quite happy with the performance, so I didn't play with any of these things specifically. But feel free to come in here and play around with them depending on what you want to do. You can really experiment and customize exactly how you play Gamecube games on your Android device. Anyway guys, it's as easy as that to play Gamecube games on your Android device in 2022. Anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. I want to take this moment to give a huge shout out to the channel members, Sean Daly, Joshua Davis, and Devontae Hunt. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to have your name shout out in future videos or some other perks, be sure to click the join button underneath any video on the channel. It would really help me out. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. Until next time, as always, keep it saucy. Peace.